Welcome to Docker Desktop Graphical User Interface and Terminal How-Tos. In this video, I'm going to be discussing about Docker Desktop. In particular, I will show you the graphical user interface, which is like a dialog boxes, and then the entire DD, which is Docker Desktop in graphical interface, as well as a command line, which is the terminal. So with that and being said, let's get started. I'm going to be talking about Docker version and Docker information, which is Docker info. These are two commands that if you want to get the version of Docker, you type in Docker version. And then if you need to get more information about Docker software, you just type in Docker info from the command line and you get a lot of information. So what is Docker? Docker is a software that is mainly managing containers, images, volumes, and more. So you could create images and push it to the GitHub or Docker Hub. And then you can also pull images from Docker Hub, which is Docker pull, and then the name of the image. Now, if you want to get an image. Like, for example, this is my Ubuntu 22. If you want to pull this image, you could just say Docker and then Docker pull, and then the name of the image, Ubuntu 22 or Ubuntu colon 22, the tag name. So 0.04 is in this case. The one that once you get the image, you can run it, you can run it as a container and then becomes containerized. And then once the container is running, now you can just execute commands against that container. You can stop it, start it, you can run processes, you can get into the container, read file system, and a lot of stuff with the containers. And then when you're done with the work, sometimes you automate it so you could just automatically remove the image. I'll show you all of that one. But this is the graphical interface that I was telling you that Docker Desktop comes with the GUI interface, as well as you can see here the terminal. So when you click on the terminal, you will get a PowerShell terminal. That's what this is. PowerShell terminal, so you can run the commands. I will show you both in the graphical interface as well as the command. As you can see, the Docker Desktop comes in with when you install it, it comes in with this graphical interface and then this terminal, as well as these buttons or resources. So if you want to just allocate more memory on the CPU and memory, if you just go to your setting, you can allocate more memory on it, which I will show you that one as well. And then at the same time, you can just click on images to see the images, and then volumes to see a list of volumes, or get to the Docker Hub, for example, to see all the images that are uploaded by other people as image, and that is available on Hub. From command line, and instead of doing click on the Docker Hub and search for it, you can also do Docker search. So, and that's equivalent to the command line. I'll show you that as well. So let's get into the next page of this one, and that's Docker images. I just showed you earlier the containers, and now I'm showing you the images. As you can see on images, whatever images that you pulled from the Docker Hub, now they're loaded here as images. And the containers or the images that are actually running as a process or instance of an image, and that's what container is. So with that in mind, let's get back to the images screen, and then I'm going to show you, like, for example, these images, you can check the size of them, how big is an image on the Docker. Usually they are in megabytes. If it is more than a gig, you're not doing something right. Maybe you shouldn't have, you should have less than a gig. Like, for example, if you're running Ubuntu, if you want to get a smaller image size, there's also Debian version that is smaller than this. And then there's Alpine, which is much smaller there. Then there's Python version, and then a Python Slim version. It's smaller than Python and general. And then you can, like you see here on this Python, it's 1.47 gig. I must have done a lot, loading more libraries than just a regular Python, like NumPy or Pandas. Those ones that I had downloaded, they grow as the size of this. But normally, you don't want to grow it too large for Docker, because Dockers are fast engine, and there's Docker D as the engine that it loads them, and then also there's command line, which is on the Docker terminal. Whatever command you type in, that you get that one. Obviously, when you pull an image, you can also create your own image and push it into the Docker Hub and get it there. And then other people could use it by pulling it. And then they can run the image, and then becomes a container. And then the container is a process, an instance of an image that's loaded into the file system, and then the library that you're using it, whether it's Ubuntu, Python, Debian, Node.js, and Nginx. Those are all images that you can find on the GitHub Docker hub there. And this is another screen that you can see that when you want to do the Docker desktop, which is the Docker engine plus the command line interface, you can also do software update on that one. So whatever latest patches that was available at that time, I applied it, and I just give you a screenshot of it to see this is what you can do. So on the top of it, now I'm gonna show you some commands that I did on Docker, and then let's get started with that. So to get Docker version, you just type in Docker space version. This will give you the version information. And if you want to get more information on the Docker, all the details that are there, you type in Docker info. That would give you the information on your Docker instance that you have installed the software. And if you are on the graphical interface, you click on Docker Hub, and then you could look for all images, search for them by typing the image name, like in Nginx, Ubuntu, Python, Node.js, whatever name you type in, Apache, Red Hat, all of those ones. Then you can also do for a command line Docker search. Search is the command, and then the string that you type in is usually the image name. Like, for example, Ubuntu, Debian, Node.js, or whatever. So you type in the image name, and then Docker search for Ubuntu image, you type in Docker search Ubuntu. This will search for all instance of images that are on Docker Hub by doing a search on the string Ubuntu. And then this is searching for Ubuntu as image name. And then that's the search command. So you can also list Docker images. So if you do Docker images command, it shows all the images that is on the remote, and then the command that is downloaded already. But if you want to look at the local images, to get the local list of images, you type in Docker image without S, singular, and then ls for listing it. So you say Docker image space ls, and it will list all the images for you. Next, I'm going to talk about to list Docker images IDs. If you want to see them by ID, you can put --quiet mode, which is Docker image ls --quiet mode, and this is the longer form. If you want to do it the shorter form, and instead of --quiet, you type in -q. That will also do the same command. It will list the Docker image by IDs. And then you can just do a lot of things with the IDs. When later on, if you want to remove them, you could do that when I show you those ones. And then you can also get Docker images by digests. The --digest, which is give you the SHA-256 hash code, and that's a long number. And then you could just get Docker image ls and then --digest. And if you want to get a tree version of it, you could say Docker list image ls --tree. That will give you the tree version of the Docker. To show running containers, basically you type in Docker ps. Docker PS is going to show you what is currently running on as a container. But if you want to see all the containers that even have exited out, then you could do -A for all. So Docker PS -A will show all the containers, including the one that exited out. And then if you want to search on Docker Hub, you can say Docker search and then image name and then Docker search. In this case, I show you an example. I'm searching for an image called will say images, and then so you type in Docker search will say. Whatever string that image is that you're searching, you search for that one, then you know where it is, so you can pull that one. In this case, to pull from Docker Hub, you say Docker pull and then the image name. For example, to pull the will say images, you type in Docker pull command and then the environment or the kind of user or the group, C group, wherever the person that is put it on that environment that created this image, you just give that one / will say to, and then doc.js will just pull that will say image from there. To run the image that you just downloaded using pull command earlier, like this one, docker pull.js will say, now this image is on your local machine. So when it is there, you could type in docker, to run the image, you could say doc.js image with hello world message. So run the command with it, and then like this, you say in docker run doc.js will say to. In this case, I just use the cow say hello world. So you can put even the emoji in front of this one with depending on whether you're Mac or Windows, there's ways that you can just generate the emoji, Control Shift space bar and Control Shift semicolon or Control Shift dot. You could just generate the emoji and then you could just say those words and those icons. And then here I'm showing you, let me just make sure that, yeah. So here I'm showing you, for example, Docker container prone. If you want to just remove all stopped containers, once you stop the containers, you can run this Docker container prone and it will clean up your repository, and then it will tell you how much space was reclaimed on this one. And then after this one, if you do Docker image ls, you might still see the images are there, so you need to remove them from the system, which I'm going to show you here. So Docker image ls-q quiet mode or --quiet, you could see that these images still exist, even though we did a Docker container prone. So at this time, I want to delete these ones. Since I'm on PowerShell command, you could use the where object, and so you say docker image ls-q, which is this command, and then use this pipe symbol, and then you say where -object, or where is an alias for where -object. Then within this braces, you could just put your argument, what you want to do. So where this, you put some filter, say docker image rm, and then $_. This $_ is coming from this output of these -ls-q. So it would be the first one would be this image ID, the second would be this one, and the third one would be this one, and it runs against each one of them docker image rm and $_. $_ will replace this one, this one, this one, and it will be removed for all three of them. So I did this one, and it shows that these images were deleted. Now I just run the same command again, docker image ls-q, and it shows that there's no more image like these ones. It just says the string on the description, repository tag image ID, created size, and then empty output. So Docker run IT, and this IT stands for interactive terminal, terminal teletype. So you could type in -- for interactive or -i, and --tty for terminal, or just shorten it for -it. And then you can say --name, and you can assign a new name for this Ubuntu image that you're downloading it. And this -d is for detach, meaning that a Docker run, this is going to run this image that I'm just downloading it, but I'm going to name it my Ubuntu, and then I'm going to detach as soon as I just get it pulled. So then it says unable to find image. It does not find it locally, so therefore it's pulling from the library Ubuntu. And it is going to download it from base images of Ubuntu, and the version is 22.04. So the bulk completed, and then here's the digest SHA 256 code, hash code, and then the status downloaded newer image for Ubuntu 22.04. And here's another kind of hash code or image ID there. So now I say Docker image ls, and then you can see when you do Docker image ls, now this Ubuntu is just downloaded on this version of 22.04 because I did a Docker run interactively. And since I did a detach, this one is detached. This running image that is there, and that I can run Docker exec to do something with it, to execute with it, and so on, then I will see that one. And then right here, when I just say Docker PS, you can see Docker PS, it shows all the images in that --name that I gave it my -Ubuntu. It says that that image, Ubuntu 22.04 version, is running as my Ubuntu. So now, and the name of the image that I named it is my-Ubuntu. I can say Docker start my-Ubuntu, Docker stop my-Ubuntu, Docker inspect to look at it and to see the properties of it, and Docker logs my Ubuntu to get the logs of it, and so on. And then if I want to stop them or do it, and this container name information is also available for me to do it. And it says, and this one is running bin bash, which is the command that is doing for Ubuntu there, the bash shell, born again shell. So let's get the next one, and then the next one I'm showing you here a few of the commands. So let's get to the top one. Docker image ls is just showing you that this version is this image is available right now, locally listed. And then Docker ps-a shows all the processes that are just running. So you can see 25 minutes ago, this image started, and then the container ID is there, image ID is there, and then the image name is my name, my Ubuntu. So if I want to say, go ahead and start it, I could say Docker start my Ubuntu. This is the image name that I say --name my Ubuntu. When you type in Docker start followed by my name, the name, whatever you choose, then it's gonna load that one, and it says my Ubuntu is now on the system. It is started. This container started, and so that's a start. If you want to stop it, you just replace the start with the stop. Now I say Docker PS, and it says that this container is up and running 3 seconds ago. So you can see that one. Now I can also attach to that image because it was started. Then I could say Docker attach my -Ubuntu. Now I attach to that container. This is the container ID that I highlighted in blue, and then the root account is there at this instance. And then when I type in host name, I can see the host name information here for that instance of the container. The container is an instance of that image Ubuntu, which I named it my-Ubuntu as container. So then I can say, well, I'm there inside here. Can I just run any Linux command related to it? Yes, I could. So here, cat -n etc os-release, it shows the OS releases Ubuntu 22.04. The code name is Jammy Jellyfish, and all of the details are here. And then I could say Docker ps-a. It still says that, okay, as soon as I exit out, type in here exit. Let me just move this one. So at the bottom here, I type in exit, meaning that from this container, exit out. When you exit out, because I had done a detach and then I did an attach to that running container, then I type in exit, and then at this time, I'm out of it. So when I type in Docker PS, by itself, it's not going to show, but if I say Docker ps-a means all the containers that even exited. So you can see here exited 35 minutes ago. So by the time I exited out, it shows that it was out. Now, if I want to start it again, I could just say Docker start my Ubuntu. Now that process again comes in. Notice I type in Docker PS, and then it says this process is started again up 5 seconds ago. So 5 seconds ago it started, and then 35 minutes ago it was created. So the timing, you have to look at it. Now, since it is up and running, I could do inspect on it, Docker inspect my dash Ubuntu, or Docker stop, or Docker, all these kind of commands, start, stop, and check in on it. And at the same time, I could also do Docker exec. This exec versus run command, you should pay attention to this part. When you do Docker run, you just are saying this image is there. I want to run it on my system. If you type in dash dash interactive or dash dash tty, you can short it for dash it, I for interactive and T for tty. And then the name, whatever was dash dash name was there, you're giving that name because that name is there. And now you're running the command. The argument to the command is nothing, but it's just a command saying run the born again shell. You can run /bin sh, you can run the ps command, cat command, all the Linux commands that you can run after this name of the container. In this example, I say get into a bin bash. And notice that I'm automatically into the container because I say Docker exec interactive. If I do dash IT, it's the same thing as interactive dash dash tty. And now I type in host name. Notice I get a number that is similar to this. That is the container ID host name. And then if I just look at the host name or cat etc host or cat etc voice-release or uname-a, any command, ls, pwd, cat df, anything, you run calendar. A calendar command may not be there because by default, you have to install the ncal. Or maybe like ping is not available. I'll show you later on how to install the ping utilities. So on that one, once you install it on the container, it will have it there. And you can do this one automation through Docker files, or just get into the container and then do it. Usually you want to do this once in a Docker file. You don't want to just update the container as you go apply it. It's not a good idea because sometimes you may just remove the container with dash dash rm, and then next time all the updates that you had done is lost. But if you do it on the Docker file, every time it's going to be persistent. The volumes that you mount, the image, the packages, the libraries, everything is going to be consistent. So I'm showing you here, once you're inside the container, in this example, you can run the command like cat etc host that will just put the contents of host file. And then notice that host ID is right here, is the 172.7. This is also Docker network. So when you are inside the Docker, you could also, from outside of the Docker, you could type in Docker space network ls to get the network list, Docker space let's say volume ls to get the list of volume, or volume create to create a volume, and so on. So host ID is one of the Linux command here. I'm just typing it. And then pwd, print working directory, is another command. So it shows that it's by default I'm on root. Date command, it just shows the system date that I run it on June 23rd at the time. And then ping Google my C2. Like notice that because I'm on the container, as soon as I got there, this package binary ping is not available. It is not there because I did not install the ping packages, right? So then what I do here says which ping, and it says I did not find it. Now you have to do apt update because it's Ubuntu Debian version. You do apt as a package manager, and this is advanced package tool. And then you write the command update. It will do the update, and then when it says all packages are up to date, then you can just say apt list iputils dash ping, because I don't know the exact package name. So then I search for apt list iputils-ping. If I just don't know something like this, I could just say instead of list, I could just type in apt search, and then maybe for the word ping, and then grep -I for iputils or something, then I will know exactly the name. Since I knew the name of it, I just type in apt list iputils-ping, and it says that this is not installed at the time. So it is a listing, and then it was not done. So, and then I had to do apt install iputils. But because on this system, I say that listing done, some of them more output here. So right here, apt install iputil ping, that one I should have highlighted, and it's still white. And so this is the part that actually should be highlighted like this, so it's much obvious to you to see it. But this one was not finding it. Now I did apt install iputils ping as root, and then it's going to install it. And at some point, there's more output here. I put a snippet of it, so I'm going to show you when it was done, successfully completed, iputils-ping is installed. Then if you type in which ping, now it shows the path to user bin ping, and it shows that ping is available, which means that you can now do which ping, and ping is there. Now you can say ping -c. C means count. And then if you're on Linux, it's -c. If you're on Windows, it's -n, the number. Then you could see the number of packets that you want to receive. In this case, it's 2. So it reads 2 of the records. 64-bit you can see here, and then 64-bit here. That is pinging Google with this IP address, right? And then at the same time, it says Google ping statistic to packet with 0 packet loss and so on. So that means my network inside the container is successfully up and running, and I could just ping. That one was a good example here. And then here I said, well, I ping Google, can I ping MyWebUniversity.com? And I just do a count of 1. And you can see here, I only run 1 with 64 bytes to that IP address for with MyWebUniversity.com. And that was also successful here with 0 packet loss, and then everything looks good. And then I say, okay, now I will show you another example of cal and ncal. So another package, for example, I would say, well, what if I just want to do cal and ncal? So then I could say exit out of this one, and then docker ps. Now it says that up in 2 hours, and then I say go ahead and run the docker exec -it. This time I shorten it -it rather than --interactive --tty. And then I just say -it, that's interactively connecting it to it, and then the name of it is my-ubuntu. So the argument, the command that I want to run is bin bash born again shell. And then here, if I type in the command calendar is not found, you can see here. So then I say which cal, it is not giving me any output. Then I say, okay, let's install apt install ncalendar. Ncal stands for new calendar. So when you install this package on Ubuntu or Red Hat or Rocky, the ncal has the cal command as well as the ncal. Once it is installed, now which cal, it says, oh, user ben cal, I found that one. So I run the cal command and it gives me the month of June calendar. And then at the same time, if I say which ncal, then ncal, the new cal is there, and -j for the Julian format, you can just do the Julian format. There's a lot of other options before, after, and other ones. Watch my other videos if you need to learn Linux. There's a lot of videos I have on MyWebUniversity at youtube.com. So you can, you're welcome to watch them here. So now I exit out of this one. I say that's good. I just run the calendar command. And if I just want to run the calendar command, and instead of bin bash here, I could type in cal command. And then instead of like, if I want to get the host name, you just type in host name. If I wanted to get the ls-l command, I get this one. So this command could give you, execute any command that you want to pass on to this argument here. Host name is there, pwd. If I just don't want to get into the exec, I could say instead of bin born shell, this sh stands for born shell. If I do bash, it is going to get to bash. So born shell is a subset of bash, and bash is a subset of zsh. A lot of the shells that were replaced or kind of modified or from sh, born shell to corn shell to bash to z shell, all of this one, csh to through c shell, all of those are great shells. They have a lot of good features, and you're welcome to watch my other videos on those ones if you need to learn shell programming and so on. Uname-A is going to show that container, what is the Linux operating system, and then the build of the kernel is 6.6 and so on. The kind of machine type and machine architecture, x86, 64. The OS version is GNU Linux and so on. And so then you can run the date command, and then you can get the system date. df-h give you the file system, and that is mounted on etcfs tab file, and what is mounted as temporary file system or other file system. So you just see that one. Usually they're either overlay or extended 4 file system, or a large, bather file system, or LVM, and there's all kind of file system that you can mount them on Linux. Docker exec-it my Ubuntu PS. Now you can see here, and instead of bin bash, I just run the process command here, PS, and then it says that this is the process that is my bash is running on process ID 370. And here, instead of PS, I say cat -n etc OS release. So it runs the -n and number. etc OS release is the contents of that file, is displayed here, saying that I'm on Ubuntu 22.04. Long-term support, Jammy Jellyfish code. And then here, Python and -- version, this is from Python PowerShell command. So if I want to see my version of Windows Python, I could say Python -- version or pep -- version. It will show Python or pep version. But if I want to say Docker pull Python, and then I don't specify, then the version that comes in, it will just show the latest version that is there. So in this case, Python was downloaded. Now I could say Docker run -it for interactive teletype, -name my Python, and -d for detach, and then Python, which is the name of the image that I pulled. Now it is just because it's loaded, this one it is detached, then I get this long hash code number for the image, and then, or the container. So Docker image ls, it shows that Python is already installed. And because I download the largest size, not the slim or not the Alpine version, is 1.47 gigabyte. That's large. And then at this time, I have 2 images, Python and Ubuntu. So if I just do a Docker PS, Python 3, 16 seconds ago is up because of this command that Docker run. and then the other one is also up or not. That is if I exit or not. So Docker exec dash it interactive my Python dash dash version. Now inside the Docker from my image container, if I just want to get the version of it is 3.13.5. Notice the earlier one was 3.12. That was on my host Windows operating system from PowerShell. But this one I'm running here, it is inside the container. The container name is my-python or the image name. And then the container that is loaded, the version of Python is 3.13.5. At this time, if I say, go ahead, give me the pep version, I could run the same exec. Exec is saying execute this command dash dash version of pep. And this is the command, and this is the argument dash dash version. This is the command Python dash dash version is the argument. So it gave me the pep version, which is pep 25.1, and then it shows the path of where side packages of pep is installed. And then you can also get inside the Python and then import sys images and other ones to see more information about the Python version and other ones. I have shown you on NumPy and other stuff, pandas and other ones. So just watch those on OS and sys modules of Python. Docker exec -it my Python pep list. So you can run the command pep followed by list and shows the current loaded images. This is kind of like what is in requirement.text. So if you freeze the pep list, then you can just send it to a requirement.text. It only shows that pep 25.1.1 is installed here. And then from there, you can just freeze it to that level and then install other packages and then go back to wherever you want. You have to roll back to the instance that you want. Docker exec -it my Python bin bash. And then notice here, you could type in pep list. Because I did here the command line, here now I went to bin bash first. And then once I'm on the container, I could run any Linux command like Python dash version or pep list or pep dash version. In this case, I did pep list, and then it shows the same output that is here. And then if I want to install pep install numpy, I could have just done it here, pep install numpy, and then maybe -y for yes to accept it. Here, I'm just doing it pep install numpy because I'm already in the container. Then if it prompts me for yes or no, I can just acknowledge it there. Pep install numpy, I will install numpy module or library inside this. And then here, once you install it, then you can say Python -- version, it shows you the version. And if you say Python -- version, it will show you the version. If you type in Python itself, you are going to get the Python interpreter 3.13.5. This is the idle page. So then you get this prompt, $3 and then if you type in dir and left parenthesis, right parenthesis function, it shows all the objects and classes and then double underscore methods, everything that is properties and attributes and classes and magic methods, they will be listed in this. For example, if I say import numpy as np, now dir of np will have this. For short, I shortened it because there was a lot of information. So a lot of methods and modules and properties were listed here, but you can do dir np or dir itself. It will show all of this plus numpy because I loaded as numpy. Okay, so this is good for the demo part of it. But if I want to just show you the actual interface, and before I do that one, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, this is the English version and this is the Farsi version. This is my documentation I had shown you previously. So you're welcome to look at those ones. This is the English version of, I have about 820 subscriber and 1.7K videos. You're welcome to watch them and learn them. And then there's a lot of good stuff. And the last video that I put was Mastering Linux Ubuntu, which is using my website here. And then this is basically the direct path to Linux Ubuntu. You could just come in here and then start learning. And this is chapter 15 on that last video, Learn Linux Ubuntu Online. So you could just come in and practice online using your browser. All you need is a browser and internet access, and you come into MyWebUniversity.com CGI, Learn Linux Online page on chapter 15 of my book. And then you could just type in any command, like for example, pwd, it will just run the pwd command and give you output. And if you say uname-a, it will run the uname-a command, it will give you output. If you say give me a calendar, it will run. All of these commands are dynamic. Notice if I type in date, it will run the date command, and it is just telling you. So notice that is June 27, 1609, and it is June 27, 16 minutes past midnight. So if I run this one again, notice 1609 is going to change to 1628. Every time you run it, it's that number of seconds it took, it gets updated here. And if you could say calendar 19070, it will just run the 9070. I type in 9070 wrong, so 9070. That is first of epoch calendar of Unix that started on January 1st of 1970. And then you can type in other commands like ls -l, it will list the commands that they are like cat -npc voice dash release. So this is something really good for you if you want to practice it. But if you say I'm a hacker, Wahid, I'm going to remove -rf star dot c star dot cgi star dot py and then star dot pro star dot sh and then a wildcard delete everything. So if you just run that command, then I say, sorry, hacker, you tried this command, but I'm not going to allow that command. So, and then I say, if you need further help, maybe you want to learn, this is a site that is going to teach you how to learn. You just go here on this URL, and then I give you more documentation on Linux Ubuntu for all these commands. So like, for example, if you're learning Docker run command, you just click on this one, and then the PDF file will open up, and then I will just show you what is Docker run do. Yeah, it does like that. So this is all that information. Podman is another desktop kind of version for Docker. So then if you say, how about like change mode command? Can I see that one? Yeah. Like here you type in change mode and I just generate it for you there. At the same time, there's a lot of other documentation on my site and that you could find it the direct path to Linux Ubuntu. And this is just one example. So if you are learning the dynamic generation of Linux Ubuntu and you say, I want to learn Node.js or Go language or something, just type in on the search here. Let's say you want to say Go language, go-build, then and you just get information about Go language. And then all you do is just click on this one on dynamically. I create this PDF file for you, and you just read it and understand it. And then if you say, give me HTTPS for it, now I take you to golang.org website. And by just clicking on it, now you're on GoDev. And then right here, you can see a lot of the books and everything is available for you there online. And then if you say, I want to see the documentation, you click on the docs here. So, and you can click learn, why Go language, packages, all of that one is available for you, a user manual and everything, right? Similarly, if you say, I want to learn Python, just type in here Python, and then you get information about Python, and then and this is python.pdf, and then all the pages related to Python, and you can just see it here on this PDF file. So if you search Control F HTTPS, then python.org website, now you're on python.org. You can go to download page, you can go to documentation, Python docs, and then all these sections that are there, tutorials, and then examples, whatever you do, source code, all of that one. I have given a lot of videos there. You're welcome to watch them. So I'm telling you that there's a lot on this channel. I'm just showing you barely the surface of it, but you're welcome to go to courses and just start learning these courses that I have. For example, this is the Red Hat Enterprise Linux 9. A lot of people loves this one. This is a full course from zero to hero about Red Hat Enterprise Linux 9, which is about 21,000 people watched it already, and a lot of more than 300 or 400 people like it and make comments about it, and they're still watching it. This is gonna grow. This is about Red Hat Rocky Linux, so you're welcome to watch that one full course. The Red Hat is about 4 hours, 20 minutes or something. This one is a couple of hours, and then this one is Bash shell scripting full course. So you can see all the shells, Bash, Corn shells, Bourne shell, CSH, Root shell, and ZSH, all the kernels, CSH, and then the architectures or explain. Linux Ubuntu, this course is about 6 hours long. This is full course. There's one of two. The second one is about 2 hours, so altogether is 8 hours of Linux Ubuntu from novice to expert level. Please watch these ones and learn and enjoy. And then R programming languages. So I'm showing you R programming language on Windows, on Linux, or Red Hat full course from part 1 of 2 and so on. There's all kind of Python programming. This is Solaris operating system, Solaris 11.4. Back in 2003, I was certified Solaris system admin. I was always senior system admin or senior software programmer, developer, and consultant for 30 years. I have done all of this one. Now I'm willing to just provide all of my knowledge for free to you guys with all these thousands of documentation that I showed you. There's more than 54,000 PDF files and more than 48,000 HTML files, technical documentation, and then all these videos, about 1.8K of videos, and that are available for hours. So you can see here with Fedora distribution 39. Here is mastering Visual Studio Code. Within Visual Studio Code, I'm either teaching you Python or C, C++ or something. So Python data structure, string, set, list, tuples, list comprehension. These are all great videos. Here's the example of the command running on MyWebUniversity courses. You can see like calendar, you type in the command and you get the output of it and there. So and there's a lot about that one, and then there's also books that I just have that one that I showed you, and videos, and there's a lot of videos that I have on these sites. You're welcome to watch them, and then Linux advanced stuff and so on. And then for the playlist, I have a lot of playlists. So whether you want to learn MySQL database or shell scripting or 2023 best of it, or MyWebUniversity for Linux Ubuntu or Python, direct path to Solaris and Solaris, Windows operating system virtualization, VirtualBox, C, C++, Visual Studio Code, IDE programming. A lot of these videos are there. So as an example, if you click on the MySQL, then I show you the video on MySQL and just learn that one. And similarly, if you click on this one for Red Hat, that's going to teach you 4 hours of a video. A lot of these ones are very, very helpful. And this one is also on my website, and the advanced part 8 of 8. So I also wrote on the website here, there are some chapters of the book, chapter 4, for example, says advanced Unix and Linux command. When you do this one, basically you're coming here with these 88 list of table of commands that each one of them you could either just get information about them like a book. So you click on this one and I tell you example by example, or you could just say run the command ps3 process stream 3, and this is on system D process ID 1, and then you get the output here. See, you click on PS3 1, and then that's system D 1 is the process ID of 1, and you get the output here. You can see here. And then at the same time, if you say, give me manual pages for this one, I give you the manual pages in HTML format. But if you say, I want to see a lot of these commands, like for example, let's say on the chapter 3, like change mode command or change something that you want to say, these one require permission for a change on mode, change ownership, change group. I'm not going to allow people to run the command against my server, even though they're running from the browser. But that browser could be just tempering the configuration of my server. So I write you like a book kind of documentation here and give you the octet number, the read write execute, the UMask, all of that one like a book. I explained it to you for free. Everything is free. So just come in and start learning and practice it. And then for each of these rows, I made a video that you can watch those videos and learn it. If you want to learn the alias command, just watch this video. And then if you want to learn the medial intermediate level of chapter 3, you could do this one. If you want to watch the find command or the exact command, this is the video for it. So for tar, gunzip, gununzip, this is the video. Cool example of Xterm. There's a lot of nice stuff you can just learn for a long time, as you can see here, right? So at the same time, on these chapters, notice that if I go to chapter 4, for example, and then I go say, what documentation you have, Wahid, and show me that one on Linux or Windows. So here you can say Linux and Windows technical documentation. I have more than altogether here is for Red Hat is 12,747. For Rocky is about 11,498. For Ubuntu, about 6,992, and so on. So if you say, can I see the HTML, PDF version of Windows, the 88? Well, yeah, you can do that one. And like, for example, make dir command is a Linux and Windows command. And then here is a command that where you run it in PDF format. And if you want me to read it for you, you just come here on this page and then just click on this one, it will start reading for you.
Creates a directory, mkdir, drive, pathmd, drive, path if command extensions are enabled. Mkdir changes as follows. Mkdir creates any intermediate directories in the path. If needed, for example, assume a does not exist, then mkd.
So you could also pause it and you could just change it, download it, playback speed and so on. You can control that one, and then sometimes you can even change the character. For PowerShell, for example, 7,000 some commands, right? If you do control F for like get dash process, then you can see here that get dash process is there. So there's two of them. So if you want to say get dash process, show me this one. And then at the same time, this one is there. If you say give me get dash host, then it will tell you that get dash host is there. So if you learn that those two commands, you just open a PowerShell command and you just say, okay, get dash host, it will tell you that PowerShell version 7.51, and that is there, and all the details are there. And then if you just to say get dash host in that kind of sense, and then say tab, and tabs. You see every information that you want to do. Like for example, if you want to say .name, it's going to say console host. But if you want to see the version, you just type in .version, it will give you the version. And then what is .version .major and .major, and you can see the major. And then .minor will give you 5, and .build is going to give you 1, and .revision -1, and so on. I mean, so there's all of these commands, and you can also say get dash host was that one. Get dash process is the list of processes. So if you say alias ps, shows the ps command is pointing to the get dash process commandlet. So you can type in ps, it will just do the same thing. And then here, if I just I'm on Docker, if I say Docker and ps here, it will show that those commands are available from command line here. So at the same time, remember that on the list of let me see if I just have the desktop still available. I believe I have exit that desktop. Let me just bring up the desktop first. So if I just have the desktop here, you click on it, and if you had started the service, this should be loaded. But maybe the service is not there, so I have to type in services. And then right here, when you click on this one, make sure that Docker desktop is running. So you type in D, and then look for DO right here. You see this is manual. That means it's not running. So you have to start it. And now I started it, and then you don't have to stop it. Now it shows it's running. Once it is running, now you click on this one, it will just open up in the Docker and desktop and load it for you. And if I just go back to the screen here, and let me just say, why is this one not loading it? I'm going to say open, see if it opens it. If it doesn't, what you could do is right click here on the task manager and just look at the older instance. Maybe I exited out, so the Docker engine might be still sitting there. So Docker, if you just type in, you see that 3 instance of it, and there's 4 instance back in. So I'm going to stop all of these ones. I right click in here, say end task, and then the Docker end task, this one, and this one is okay. Now the Docker service, I'm going to just go back to the service again, and so this is the manager. I'm going to just type in services here, and then look at the desktop to make sure that the Docker desktop is running. So DO right here. This is running, so I'm going to say restart. Okay, now this is running. Now if I click this one, it's going to load it fresh. And then I go back to the desktop manager here. This one is loading right now. See Docker engine loaded. So Docker D is running as engine, and then the command line interface is all available here. Now you can ask Gordon, and then containers. So when I click on the containers, it's a list of containers. If I go on the image, it is a list of all the images that are there. And then if I just have a volume that I created with Docker, create Docker volume, create my volume, this volume got created. And then at the same time, I could just go to the hub. And then remember, I was doing from the command line Docker search. So here I could type in, for example, Ubuntu to get all the list of all the images that is on the Docker and that I could pull in this one. And if I say, give me the Debian version, which is smaller than the Ubuntu, then I can get the Debian here. But if I get it even smaller than that one as Alpine, and then I could get those images here. the size of them when I downloaded is much smaller here. So you could say, and give me the Node.js or stuff, you can get all those ones search here. Or just Python, what is available with Python Slim or Python Alpine, all of those ones are here. At the same time, if you see something like Red Hat, then you can see all the images for Red Hat. At the same time, if you say, give me something with Oracle. And so it is like all the containers that are available as images, you can get them, a list of them. This Docker Hub is, if I'm on the command line, so let me close this screen. Notice that Docker Hub is this screen, but if I'm on the images here, and then I'm gonna move this zoom on the top. On this one, you can see a list of containers and everything, but at the same time, there should be a terminals right here. See this terminal window? That means I can open a terminal. So this is my graphical interface on the desktop. At the same time, I can run a command line interface by opening a terminal. When I click on the terminal, it comes in with PowerShell on my home directory. So on this one, you can see that it is telling me the version 7, get dash host is 7.5.2, and it's showing here 7.5.1, but it was updated, saying that it is a new one upgrade. You want to upgrade it to that one, then I could upgrade. But at this time, I'm not working on that one. I could just say, well, that is good, but I just was looking at these images. So right here, this is the list of containers, right? So if I click on the images, then I see these two images are there. I could say Docker image ls, and you can see the same Python and Ubuntu from command line. I can get that one. Here you can just run them or delete them. You can have those options to do it. And then there's show image action. You could pull it, you can do further information. So if you just click on here to run it, you could run it here. But if I just say Docker image ls, is that clear screen Docker image ls, and then if I just say -q for quiet mode, then I get the image ID here for each one of them. And if I say --quiet, then it's going to give me the same argument there. So this command that is there, if you just type in --help here, there's a list of commands you could do with image. Here is build, history, import, inspect, and so on. So for example, this Ubuntu or other ones, when I say Docker PS, you can see nothing is running right here. Now, if I just say I want to run, let's say the Ubuntu version, or let's run the Python version. I want to just open NumPy like I was showing you earlier. So I could say Docker run -it, and instead of --interactive -tty, I make it short. So I could say my Python and then -d for detach and give the name of the Python image. So now I run it and it just say you have to remove it, the container, to be able to reuse that name. So the name is already there. I'm going to reuse it as a different name. Now, notice that since my container was used, I had to remove it, but I didn't have to remove it. I could just say load it as my Python 1. I could have just give it any name. And this, so if I want to run it as Wahid here, and say name Wahid, that's going to load that one. Now, if I say Docker PS, then notice that I have two instances of it. One is the name Wahid and one of the name this. It is the same exact Python there. So if I say Docker exact -it, and then my Python 1, and then Python --version, then my Python, I type in rock, my Python 1. Notice that it says this. And then if I just change this one to Wahid, doesn't matter. what I name it. It is not meaningful, but I just wanted to show you that they're equivalent image. They only have different container ID. So if I say giving that name, if I say Docker inspect and then say Wahid, then it will just inspect Wahid and then all the information about that container properties and everything is here. All the details here. And Docker inspect Wahid. And then you can see the details are here. So then if I just say, well, that is good information, but can I just say the same thing with Docker itself and then say, instead of Wahid, I could say, give me the my-python one. That will also give you the information. And if you're searching for something like whatever information that you are getting for IP address or gateway, like IP address, right? So if you say here and say, because I'm on PowerShell, I could pipe it to find a string in /i. Now I say IP address. And then now I could get the information on that thing. At the same time, if I say Docker logs and then my -python version Python 1, then you can see that the logs of it is just basically saying Python 3.51 was loaded in there. So if I want to get this one instead of logs, I could say -exact-it and then my-python 1 and then bin bash. Now I'm inside of the container itself. I say hostname cat -n etc os-release. To see what is the OS release, it's a Debian GNU Linux. So this is a Debian version, and if I say uname-a, it is going to do that on df-h. And then if some command is not running, then I can obviously install it. So let's say I say Python -- version, it says that one. And if I say Python myself, get into the Python, now I say import and sys module, and then sys.version info, you can see that the major number is 3.13.5. And then sys.version will give you the information and shorter names. The platform, it will tell you the system platform is Linux. Executable, for example, it tells you the Python executable there. So if I say import OS and then os.system, then you could say these are modules that are coming with Python already. I don't have to do this one. So I could say pep list and then just get the pep list from operating system, pep and -- version, and then let's say calendar command. Any command, the calendar is not there. So now I could say here and say apt install ncal. And then it did not install it because of the dependencies. So let me try -y here. And then that is not doing it because I'm inside the OS. It does not have the privilege. So I could try sudo here. Okay, it's not doing it because it doesn't recognize it. So I'm gonna say exit out of here, and then I'm gonna say apt install ncal. And then package ncal is not available because the one that I'm doing is from Ubuntu Debian distribution, so it must be something else. So apt and search cal and say what this cal command is available for. And then the way you could do is you could use the Debian package manager, dpkg-s for search, and then you could say cal command. And now you see a list of all the packages that are here for cal command and calendar. The list is so huge, core utilities and other ones. you could just get that one with let me see with the ncal. No package found. Okay, so for calendar it's a lot more, but let me see direct minus iCal to see what is the one that I need. Find utils and lab. Most likely is one of the packages here. What core utils or core courses cal. For the Debian version, I'm not sure if it is ncal or something else. Then utilities, there's a lot of them. So let's do this. And then if you just are not sure, you could always Google it, right? So let's see, I go say Debian ncal or cal package name. So details of package ncal is the SID. What is the difference between cal and ncal? Ncal is the new cal. What is the cal command in Debian? So used to display a calendar for the current specified year, this one. And the next cal command with practical example. So let's see if and the ncal is lep bst and dependency display calendar of this one related to package name. Lep c ncal, download ncal. The ncal was not available on Debian, I believe, when I did that one. Say app install ncal. Yeah, it is not finding it, building dependency tree. So I'm gonna do this one app update first. Once you do the repository update, then you just run this app install, and now it's finding it. And now if I say which ncal, so make sure your system is up to date. Now ncal -j will run ncal command or cal command, which cal is there, cal 19070. So that's how you fix that problem, by just making sure your system, and whether it's Debian or Ubuntu, you do app update. And then notice that when I did the update, it says app less dash dash upgradable. This is just saying what is upgradable, and then you can do app upgrade, grade, and then you could just apply the update. Now, if I want to do the ping utilities, I earlier I showed you that this there. So now the system is getting all up to date with it, and then the size of the disk image, the Docker container is going to grow. So if I say which ping, it's not available. So you say app search and say, for example, ping. Then I was telling you that you could search for the name, and then notice there's a lot of them here. So I'm going to search for that and then pipe grep minus I IP utils. So the name of the package is IP utils dash ping. I know that one. And then now notice that it is there, IP utils dash ping. So if I say app less IP utils dash ping, then I can find it with the grep command and other ones. Now that one is not there. That's why which ping does not return. So I could say app install IP utils dash ping, and we'll install it. And then once that one is installed, and then now which ping is going to work. So I say ping minus C 5, let's say MyWebUniversity.com, run 5 packets, and then it's gonna do that one and exit. Similarly, if you say run on Google, 3 of them, 3 www.google.com, it will do that one. And notice if I exit out of there and say Docker image ls, notice the size of that Python is 1.47 gig. So that's a little bit larger than that one. And if I want to just get an Nginx, for example, you could say Docker pull image Nginx. So Nginx by default will be pulled from there, and then now that image is there, then I can run it. So watch, as soon as it comes in, I could say clear screen docker ps, and then docker image ls. Notice that Nginx is right here. So now if I want to run that, when I say docker run, I use the run command to make the container available. So by running it, and the container will be as a process. And then you can just get into the container by starting it, stopping it, and everything else that you want to do. -- interactive -- tty, or shorten as IT. I for interactive, T for TTY. And -- name, I could say my web. I could call it MyWebUniversity or whatever I want to name it. And let's call it my web for short. And then I say, which one is it? Nginx, right? So I'm going to do that one. And now, because I did not use the detach command, I have to open another terminal, which is this plus symbol here. And then I say docker ps, and then you can see that my web is also running here on port 80. So if I go to the web and listen to port 80, because they're on port 80, I could also do a curl localhost colon 80. That would be just pulling it, but it's not going to pull because I could not connect to it. Now I have to do a port map on that one. So then this is the image that I could say docker stop, and then say my web. Now I just stop with docker ps. You can see that it is a stop. But if I say docker ps -a, it shows that my web was just exited out somewhere here. Exited my Nginx, my web is exited out. So now say clear screen docker ps. Those two are running docker image ls. It is these two. I'm going to say docker run -ip -name my web. This time I'm going to say -p for a local port, -p or -- for long name. If you just shorten it, they say -p for port number. And then -- is what port you want to publish. So -p, and then at this time I'm going to map it to the local host that from Nginx, from the container port 80, to map it to 5000. Which one? So I'm going to do it for Nginx. That's going to map it, and then you have to remove or rename it. So the name is again conflict. The namespace, you could just say my web one. I could remove the name there, but I could just start the new one. And then notice again, I just open it with the previous one. So somewhere I have it. This time I'm gonna do a Control-C of it. And so I don't have to open keep terminal there. And then now this process that you see, it is there in docker ps. It's not loaded in my web. But if I want to just run that one, I put a -d for detach. Now it is going to connect it. Let's call it my web 2 as the second one. And now it is there, my web 2. So now docker ps is going to show all three of them that are running. One is the on my web 2 mapping to port 5000. So if I say curl localhost colon port 5000, then it's going to just open up the Nginx on port 5000. Oh, localhost, I mistyped it. Local. So that's why it is showing there. And if I just say that one, or look at the logs of it, I could say that one like this. So you could say, since that's called my web 2, docker ps there, and then I could say the name is MyWeb2, I believe. Yeah, MyWeb2. I could say Docker logs MyWeb2. And then that would just show that is there. If I go on the browser and say, and just go to localhost on port 5000, then it should bring Nginx right here. Welcome to Nginx there. At the same time, if I just went back here and clear my screen here and say, give me, you see these images there, and then the containers, you can see that there are 3 containers. So you could also look at them from the graphical interface, all of the names that are there. So, and this name that are there, yeah, I called it Wahid, my web. So let's just delete some of these ones. If I say Docker image ls, and then I say, how do I delete them? How do I get rid of this one? Obviously, you can click delete on the graphical interface. It is easier. But if I want to delete all of them, in order to do this one, I could also say the ones that are stopped, delete them. So some of them, Docker PS, it's there, but notice Docker PS-A, it shows all the ones that are exited. I'm interested on the one that are running, so Docker PS. These 3 are running. So if I want to stop them, I could say Docker stop, and then one of them was called MyWeb2, right? So now MyWeb2 is there. So if I do Docker PS, it's MyWeb2. If I want to say Docker stop, the next one was called Wahid, and then I stop Wahid there, and then my Python 1 is the next one. So Wahid, and that one is a bigger image, and then it's trying to delete it. I stop it, and then I stop it. Now say Docker stop my dash Python 1. So I just showed you how to stop all 3 of them. But here's some good things. Since you're in PowerShell, you could do a lot of DevOps kind of work. If you're on Linux, I show you thousands of other ways you can do this one within Python, within Bash scripting, but PowerShell is very, very helpful as well. And you can do a lot with PowerShell. So let's do this thing. Now I say Docker PS, it is all of them are stopped. And if I say Docker image ls, these are the 3 images that I have as image with these image ID, right? If I click on the image, these are the 3 images that are there: Python, Ubuntu, Nginx, Nginx, Python, and Ubuntu. So if I want to do them here, pipe it by sorted, you can sort it, and then you could get it in descending order, last modified, and so on. But also you could say ls and then dash q for just quiet mode, so you could get this image ID here. The image ID is going to help me. So if I just let a screen here and say dash q here, I'm going to just say what I want to do with these images. I want to say a where clause where, and then I could say start them by the thing, or maybe remove them. So I could say Docker image rm. Rm meaning that $_ this is like Perl kind of things, and Python and other ones. The $_ is pointing to the current output of this argument, which is these 3 rows of fields of records, right? So it comes out this string as argument and removes it, the second one and third one. Now it's going to just do this one. And it says I unable to delete it because there was a conflict on the stop container. So what I could do is, instead of that one, I could say, let's see if I can do a Docker stop, and then those and there. It's a response from daemon no such container. So I could not get that one, but and what I want to do is instead of this, I could see ls here, And then now the second field has the name of it, right? The first argument here. So and then I could say, let's do another kind of where clause where and $sign underscore and dot repository. So let's see if that one is giving me the repository name is not there. Dot name is okay. So I'm going to just say ls, and then this one I'm going to remove them by image ID. So I'm going to do this where clause, but the one that I did here with RM, I'm going to pass in -F for forcing it. This is just going to remove all of them. Now, if I say Docker image ls, it's going to just show no image. And notice here, I just delete them there. And then here's a Docker file from not run make dir -p working directory, and then undo this. So another way is you could run from this top to create a Docker file. Let me see if I have another example for a Docker file, and then I'll end this video because it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm off tomorrow, so I can just take my time, but I like to help you out. So cd to let's say this one, cd to demo Docker desktop. See Docker desktop, yeah. So right here, I have a Docker file, Docker info dash version, Docker. Okay, I don't have a Docker version. So I'm going to just create it with just using code. So I'm going to say code here on this directory. I'm going to say Docker file. So inside this Docker file, I'm going to just do one from image. Let me move this thing out of the way. So right here, I'm going to say from. So the nice thing about the Visual Studio Code, you can install the Docker extension. If you just install the extension for Docker, it will help you a lot more with a lot of stuff. So right here, install the extension. You could just get a lot of the IntelliSense and all that other stuff when you're doing it. But I don't need it because I just know those syntax here. So I'm going to say from Ubuntu. This is the base Ubuntu base is 22.04, let's say. If I just don't give the tag name of 22.04, it's gonna just do Ubuntu 24.04, the latest version. So if I just do that one from this one, now I could use the run command, and I say app update and app install. Let's say, for example, the one we were doing with the install IP utils -ping command. And then I'm going to say -yes here to accept it. I think it's -yes for why dash accepted by default. So -yes. So now I did this one. Even just doing this one, I could do this one, run and this command, and run this command as a second argument. I didn't have to do ampersand, but you could do this one and then do the -yes option. That's going to work also. So now I save this one. Inside the vim, I do escape W and then save it. And now that information is saved. Let's see if I just go back to my terminal and just look at here. On this one, if I look at the clear screen, ls -l clear screen directory, and then you can see the Docker file is there. You get content, git dash content, and then Docker file, then you can see that a Docker file is there. So let's see, type Docker file, and you can see that the syntax is from Ubuntu 22.04, run this command, followed by ampersand, meaning running this other command also there. So let's say I'm going to do that one as one build and say, go ahead and do that one with Docker and build command dash tag, or for short dash T, and then I say my Ubuntu, I could say my Ubuntu 2204. I could give it a long name like that. So now it is going to require a dot, meaning that where the Docker file name is. So when I create this Docker file, this this dot is saying that build it from the content of the Docker file. It is going to find it. You have to have that dot or the name of the Docker file or the directory path where your Docker build images are. So Docker build is the command to build it. And then now you can tag it with the name that you did. So now I say Docker image ls. I just created with that name. Then I can push this one to GitHub if I have a login, and then people could use this one. So now if I want to run that one, I say Docker run dash IT dash name. I could shorten the name as my Ubuntu 22, for example. That would just be good enough for it. And then I say minus detach it, and then bash. If I want to just detach it, I could just say my Ubuntu 2204. That's the name of the thing. So since I did the detach, now I say Docker PS, it is going to show that version is running. And notice it is the name of my Ubuntu this. So I could say Docker exec dash IT, my Ubuntu 22, and PWD, it is run the PWD. If I say cat minus NEPC host name, then it's going to show the content of the host name. OS dash release. Notice that any command I type in here, as long as it's valid command, ls minus l, and then so on. So if I just say which ping command, since ping was already part of my Docker file, type Docker file, you see that one is apt install ping. So when I did this one, ping is working here. Then I could say ping minus C to google.com. It will actually run two instances of that one. I just augmented here with www.mywebuniversity.com. It will ping it. So now, no matter what you type in here as argument, let's say oracle.com, you could just ping it to them. Some university like UCLA.com, it will just ping it there. And then some university or jetpropulsionlaboratory.nasa.gov. And then it will jpl.nasa.gov. It's not that. Oh, I just typed in by mistake nasa.gov. So gpl.nasa.gov, it will ping it twice, and if it is not pingable because they're not echoing the ping on that one. So and if you just are going to HTTPS on the browser, obviously, just type in here, say HTTPS gpl.nasa.gov, then you will go to Jet Propulsion Laboratory NASA. It's fancy stuff on the Mars sand, and there's a lot of great stuff that we are doing here. This is the Jet Propulsion Laboratory Pasadena headquarters, or just Pasadena JPL, Jet Propulsion Laboratory. and Pasadena. This is the building 180. This is and the building. I have been in this building and this building. This a lot of these ones. Majority of the time I was on 171, which is somewhere here. Let me just find it. So this is the gate. You come in here, and this is the parking structure. This is the flight ops, and this is 310. And one of these big white building is 171. I believe it's this one, 171. And this is the Caltech credit union stuff and right cafeteria. There's another cafeteria, 167 down there. We'll have to be back at the GPL for physical, so that's good. I will just remember everything. I've been there for 22 years. I really enjoy it. And in the last 9 years, I've been enterprise system analyst. Before that was I was principal lead sysadmin or enterprise. Principal senior sysadmin, and now I have been doing it system analyst there. I enjoy it. I love it, and it's a great place to work. So this is something nice that you guys could just learn. And then there's a lot of documentation on the Python website, Docker. So when you do install the Docker version, you have to set up the Windows subsystem, and you can get it from the PowerShell command here. So if you just are using the Windows subsystem, on my previous videos, I could say Windows subsystem -L for listing. These are the subsystem that I have already installed: Ubuntu 24.04, Oracle Linux, Kali Linux. Kali Linux is good for cybersecurity stuff. Docker desktop. So a lot of those ones are up and running here. And then by default, if you just don't set the session, you could say WSL --help and then 5 more. Then you can see 5 more is actually, in this case, is filtered inaccurately. So I'm going to just say this, and then you can see with the Windows subsystem, some of the options for setting the version, all of the details are here. So you can enable the WSL version 2 by setting those ones. Set -default -version is the command. WSL set -default -version, like in here. And that's set user default, and most likely somewhere here says set -default -version. I know that from memory. And then you can also use other set commands with set -version and version name to get the version name and so on. So this is a list of commands that is available for you. You could also type in WSL to get into the Linux Ubuntu. For example, if this default one is set to Ubuntu, now I'm on Ubuntu here. So if I say host name, it says Algorithm cat -NAPC, or still -release is Ubuntu 24.04, and then df-h. So a lot of commands are here that you can do, calendar, date, and so on. But man page, for example, PWD, you could just get that on a clear screen. If we just say PS -EFA correct -I1. So notice the system D is process ID 1 -W. All these process ID 1 is system D. So I could say PS3 1. So now you can see the process ID of 1 is there, and so on. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff. You could do that one, and then WSL dash online is list online is showing you what is available for you to install, and then L for short, and dash online is long one. You could just do that one, and then And WSL-L by itself is giving you what is local in there. If you want to get into Windows Oracle, you have to do WSL-S. And then for let's say Kali Linux, for example, Kali-Linux, and then now set it successfully. Next time I type in WSL, it's going to go to Kali Linux. There's a lot of stuff here. You see, now I'm on Kali Linux, got my -70 or stash release, and it is there. So if I exit out here, clear screen WSL-L. I'm showing you these ones because they're related. So if I say WSL-S on Oracle Linux _9, that's like a Red Hat 9.3. You can do that one. Now it is there, WSL, and now I'm on Red Hat operating system. That -70 or /these, and then that is Red Hat version 9.5, and it is a Fedora distribution. So if I say DNF list, because it's Red Hat, I have to use the DNF package manager to list all the files there. And then I could use a YAM or could use DNF or PM command to just list of them. And then if you want to do on Ubuntu, it's apt or dpkg or snap, and those ones are for package managers. So that is what that is. The list is really huge, so it is a little bit streaming slower than normal. But it will eventually will just give you all of that one, and you're welcome to just end the video here or hit the because they don't need to see that, all right? So yeah, you see the list is really huge. And then if you just say how many packages are there, you could just do a word count -L because the list was already loaded. It should be this time faster, 42,230. And then you can just get out. And then if I just say WSL-L, and then I say WSL-set to Ubuntu, Ubuntu -24.04, and then now say WSL, I'm gonna get it to Ubuntu. Notice that this is the Debian version, cat -70c OS-release. It is the Debian distribution, but it's Ubuntu name and Debian distribution, right? So now I say app list word count -L. This is app list of that one is 82,000. So if I want to get all of them over there, and I'm sorry, app list, and it's all of that packages over there. Not to spend that money, how much fast it was. But if you just say grep -I, for example, something about let's say libc, then you can see all the packages that are libc related. So something like for Python, you can just get this one. And by default, which Python, you can see Python is not installed. I could say apt install Python or pep or something. So now you can see here it says you have to be root. So I'm going to do a sudo in front of it, or switch user do, and then type in the password for my account, and then that did not find it. Let me see. The password maybe I modified it. Yeah. So yeah, now you see it says run this Python version to install it there, and then I could say go ahead do apt update, and then first the apt update will just update your system, and now it's done. Then you just say apt install Python, and then I'm going to say package Python is no installation candidate. Apt search Python, see what is Python 3 or something. So right here you can see the list of them as XPython is one, and then XPython is one of them, but I wonder if clear screen and then say, I could do a XPython to see what is XPython, and then XPython is like a Jupyter stuff, and then Jupyter Notebook and other ones. So you could say which Jupyter. So I could say install Jupyter lab. For example, Jupyter Lab. I'm able to find it without the dash. It's not finding it. Python 3. So Python 3 0 packages. Python Python 3. Yeah, so Python 3 is already installed. Apt list Python 3, and then you can see that package is there. So if I say Python 3, and it's gonna get it to Python 3 commanded. Oh, I just typed it by Python 3, and then it is gonna get the order of this one. And you can see here for num and range of 10, and then do say print f, and then say the number num, and then followed by hello word, and then just close it and then run it as there. So there's a lot of stuff you can do with it. I'm not gonna go through that each example of every subsystem. This course was about Docker, and then I showed you enough stuff. You can also go on MyWebUniversity.com under documentation and just go to the direct path to Linux Ubuntu and search for the dynamic and just type in Docker here. Obviously, if you go to other resources, you could get like Docker and Podman and other stuff. And so here is the Docker, and then all the command lines and documentation is there. And then you could search for HTTPS if there's anything that is not there. Let's see for Podman, Podman, and then what's on the Podman. And then here's the Podman stuff. I don't know if this one has HTTPS. No, but you could also go on the Red Hat documentation here under the direct path to Linux Ubuntu, and on chapter 11, the Red Hat Enterprise. So search for Docker here, Control F Docker. There's nothing here, Docker. Yeah. So if you don't have it here, maybe under Rocky version, let's see if there's there. Docker. I must have not installed it at the time when I created the man page, but I'm sure on the Linux Ubuntu version, I did it. So if I look for controller here, yeah, you can see all the Docker swarm and Docker containers, Docker promotes, Docker config. There's 135 of them. So you could see plenty of documentation here available for it, right? Docker services, Docker logout, Docker wait, and then a lot of them. Docker container, Docker image push. So this is Docker image push. When you create a build, you can push it into the GitHub repository by Docker push, and then the name of the registry, and then what they were tag you want to put it there. So you're welcome to learn them, and some of the command I showed you. This is not the end of it. I will just do a lot more for you. Just subscribe to our channel, and then get into this channel, and then enjoy learning. Okay, take care. God bless you. I would learn about cybersecurity stuff and enjoy it. There's some soccer stuff. Sometimes I just post them for fun, for students to just get a little bit inspired that they are on time, you gotta have some fun in life too. Because too much work and no fun makes you dull, makes John dull. Take care. God bless you. Bye bye.